Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today is one of my favorite videos we do all year. So this is a collection of gorgeous art books and also some that are not strictly art in that way, but they inspire me creatively. So I've popped those in as well. Okay, so you can see this incredible stack of books here. This makes me so happy. So I also just wanted to kind of show you how kind of the width of them. Some are very thick, some are quite petite, but just really packed with so many lovely things. So we'll go through all of these and yeah, hopefully some new to you artists as well. And if you know any of them or you love them, let us know in the comments as well. I love to hear what you guys think, or if you kind of know these things, or if you have any extra favorite books that you've had this year as well, so we can kind of look those up here. Okay, so I'm not going to make you wait till the end for a little sneak peek into this one. This is such a beautiful book. So this is a collection of so many botanical artists who have put together this kind of like so a florilegium is like the botanical plants of a place. So this is from a nature reserve in South Africa, but this is the first florilegium that has added insects or birds or like frogs and different things as well that go with the plants. I love how they have the kind of herbarium pages, they have a vellum page, and then they'll also show you the sketches and kind of the working sketches of the artist as well. So this is such a treasure trove, and it also goes to help the nature reserve. So I will link the video. There's like a video about this as well. This is a very difficult book to source, and some of these you may not be able to find some of these still in print, but I would love to be able to kind of have some of these reprinted if there's a demand. They're so beautiful. And you may also be able to get your local library to see if they can source some of these books, or like a secondhand bookstore. In Brisbane we had this beautiful little kind of arcade in the city, and yeah, it was just full to the brim with really lovely books. So you may be able to go to somewhere like that as well. But yeah, you can see how beautiful this book is, the detail, the time that these artists took. I love these golden pages as well. They're kind of like silk fabric. Okay, but this first little book doesn't really count with the art books. I just loved the cover, and I think I'm going to turn this into like one of the junk journal kind of art journals we did, the little blue one, and kind of cover up the wedding stories on the front. But this is the first kind of art book. So she is an artist, and she creates these, so they're prints she cuts like a wood block, and then she prints that on mulberry paper and then stitches on top of it. It's so beautiful. It's so detailed and delicate. I really love all of these artists for like the delicacy and kind of the thought and the so much goes into the process. You can see like the beautiful stitching in the inside here, and just how much care and attention to detail goes into these works. Like this is her studio wall. What a dream. So really, really beautiful. I will link, so this is a kind of magazine she has printed from Mag Cloud as well. So I'll link all these artists and their books below where I can find a link as well. So this is kind of a little collection. There's one book, Moreland, but these two little sketchbooks are going to be in my gift guide video. So I wanted to give you kind of a sneak peek here as well. One or the other might appeal to you, or all of them. So this book I actually got last Christmas. It didn't arrive in time for the gift guide video then, but I'm really happy to have it this year. So you can see this was an extra calendar that she sent with the order last year, which was so lovely, and you can see it's got all of these landscapes for each month. So I actually started following her a few years ago for the stitching, and then recently she started to do these landscapes inspired by like the moors where she lives. And what I really like looking at an artist like this and looking at the places that inspire them, is kind of you see things from a different perspective, and you can kind of glean a little bit the light and the vastness and the difference of quality that the places that they live bring to their work. So I absolutely love this. I love these little sketchbooks to kind of give a sense of where she gets the inspiration and then the work that she does. So you can see this is the actual book. This is Moreland, and yeah, it's just a really, really lovely insight into like I said, like her work, where she lives. So I'm not going to kind of show through all of it, but I'll just give you a little bit of a sneak peek. Also, a lot of these images can be found on her Instagram, but it's so nice to have them in book form and kind of see them up close as well, and kind of see them next to each other. So you kind of see the painting and then the landscape that inspired it. I love how you can see like the canvas. But yeah, you can follow her on Instagram and you get like process videos and things like that, which are so really interesting to watch and really lovely. So already you can see that both of these artists use stitching as part of their art, and I absolutely love that as well. So I'm a big fan of hand stitching and just adding extra layers to, you can see like how beautiful are the colors. Yeah, adding extra layers to your art as well. So the cat is just running around. Yeah. You'll also see like a difference between the abstract and more really refined and detailed work, like we'll see in this book here. And I just love this spectrum. I love from really abstracting something to really detailed and focused work. So I find it just so enjoyable, that whole array of things. So I really love it. This is a really interesting book. I've been reading this at the minute, and it's very, I mean, I don't want to keep saying interesting, but I do really love how you can kind of look at an artist and think about their process, how they're sort of creating things to work for them. I really love this painting here. So this wasn't by Turner, but it was of his gallery. Yeah, and I love in this book, they show you kind of these like up close and like micrographs of the work, the way it was made, and they're kind of trying to decipher a little bit how he worked. Yeah, it's just really beautiful. Like you can see here an unfinished work. This was his watercolor palette, which I absolutely love that as well. And I love that he worked in watercolors, in oils, across mediums. And we'll see in a book a little bit later on, and so they also give you close-ups, which is really nice too. But we'll see in a book later on how a lot of the watercolors at this time, they were almost using it a little bit more like oils as well. Like some of these paintings at first glance don't necessarily look like watercolors, but you can see here, like this is a very pale beginnings of a watercolor. So they really did things in a slightly different way, I think, than today. But I love like this ethereal kind of glow that he created in things. And just you can see here like under ultraviolet light and how he was applying the paint as well. So this was his leather watercolor palette that he took around as well, which was really amazing. And then you can see his palette there on the left, you could see it. And again, yeah, here it is. So yeah, like there's a lot of mixing that's gone on there. Here he said this is from memory, a sketch from memory. I mean, that's just crazy. So here we have another book. This is a catalogue from Christies. And so this, I love the emblem on the front, but if you can get hold of old catalogues from auctions, they are full of some little gems as well, so less well-known works. But these are watercolours. And to me, this just blows my mind because a lot of these at first glance you would think are oil paintings. So I feel like as I have been kind of looking through here, that back then, I think, and like here you can see even pencil and watercolour heightened with white on pale blue paper. So they're painting on pale blue paper, which I think is remarkable. And then we saw in the Turner's book the really pale beginnings of the watercolour, and I feel like they were doing more like that, very pale beginnings and then almost more wet on dry to kind of achieve a lot of the almost this kind of oil paint quality. So I think the style of watercolour itself and kind of the techniques they were using was a little bit different back a few hundred years ago. So yeah, really, really interesting. Again, like if you can get your hands on old catalogues, yeah, very like interesting to kind of see what they may have been doing back then differently to now. And then also like what things are similar, like they're still using kind of charcoal, they're still using, line drawings and pen and ink washes and a lot of the same things that we're also using now. So it's quite nice to feel connected in that way as well. And you can see here again, a watercolor. These are watercolors, which just blows my mind. Like this one says watercolor heightened with white and scratching out. So yeah, they were, yeah, it's just really, really interesting. Again, you can see here like this very linear quality. So I'm gonna count this as the same book, like the same kind of series. So there's more than 10 books, but let's just try and get 10-ish. It would be a bit weird to say like 17 or 18 favorite books. So I'll count this as similar. But again, this is another one of the Christies catalogues. And yeah, they're just filled with like these kind of treasures that people have had on their walls, or I mean, who knows like where they've come from. Have they come from attics, or you know, how people have collected them and kind of showcased them. So you can see again this beautiful like ethereal quality, the glow and the colors. Like I love the colors, this deep navy and this kind of gold ochre, but this kind of orange, violet orange in the background. So, and the dark grey, really beautiful. So this one here is also slightly difficult to get hold of. I got this off Amazon, but they don't always have them, and I'm not sure if they're still in print, but this is from an artist I discovered last year. So he is Australian and he is a little eccentric. You can see in some of the videos like he is printing with like the remains of a pelican in like from a billabong near his studio. So but it's really, really interesting, kind of quite invigorating, the line, the difference between like, again, it's like this juxtaposition of this more abstracted, these watery washes, and then these highly detailed drawings. And so this book is a collaboration with a poet, and so he would draw the maps. Again, I love a good map. He would draw the maps and the paintings, and the poet would write about these birds. I feel like a lot of my process is like refining and then loosening up, or kind of relaxing. So like refining and relaxing. And I feel like I do that all the time. Like every year I really work on something. Refining a part. It might be color work, it might be drawing or shading, and then I will try and kind of loosen that up. And I really love kind of the way that all of these artists showcase these kind of different elements of how that can work. I think that's something that kind of what am I trying to say here? This is a new book. This is a botanical artist, and I really like this book. I might do a whole video on botanical art books, but I really like this one because she goes through so many really useful concepts, and it's quite detailed in the information that she's sharing, and I feel like you come away from the book really understanding a lot more about botanical art and how to do things that maybe aren't in some of the other books. But what I was saying was, I feel like something that all these artists kind of have in common, or all these books kind of have in common, is there's a real delicacy to the work and almost like a visual cadence. So you can see like even just here, like she is showing you how to shade sticks and twigs and, you know, stems and vines, and it's so useful and so beautiful. Like she makes something so ordinary seem really special. So you can see here another book on textiles as art, and I love kind of this other element, bringing that into the art. And I feel like, often if you're feeling like you have artist block, look around for what things you might be interested in. There might be something else, like another element that you're missing, or something maybe that you felt like, I feel like quite often I feel like in the art world, but I feel like it's kind of everywhere. You have people kind of tell you that's not the right way to do things, or this or that, but this is the whole kind of thing when you're kind of looking at like the book about Turner and how he's painting. He's innovating ways to do things, so it may not have been like the norm, but he's so well remembered and well loved for the things that he found and the things that he fought for and worked for, and how hard he worked on those things. So like if you are thinking that you might like to include something else in your art, or absolutely, I'd say look into that. And I really love the textiles. The other thing that it can do is just kind of jumpstart an idea, or kind of you can see like the rowboat there, and then you might think of painting that. So also again, like the pale blue and the delicacy of that as well. So this is a children's book, but I really love this. This reminded me of my sister. So she loves moths, and this is like a little moth fairy girl. So and you can see like the beautiful page, like just you open it up and straight away there's that beautiful yellow with the moths very slightly there. And all the illustrations are really nice. The way that she portrays emotion within, like both with the girl and the animals, and the light, the way that she's creating these illustrations, I think is so beautiful. So I highly recommend also, like again, looking at different types of artists. Like I follow quite a few illustrators on Instagram, and they're always so inspiring. Okay, so this one is, I'm just showing you here kind of a comparison so you can see how thick it is. It's almost like 3 regular books. But Claire is my favourite. Like if you ask me my favourite painter, this is who I'd say, Claire Basler. And this catalogue is out of print now, but she's coming out with a new series of like 3 catalogues either in December or pretty soon. So you can email her on her website and sign up for the wait list. But I love her work. What's interesting is like even in our family, everyone likes kind of has a different favourite. Like my mum would be Rembrandt and Leon Engelin. My brother really loves Van Gogh. And I really like, she's got to be one of my top favourite artists, although having said that, like I have quite a lot, One of the things I love, you can see here as well, this is all on like silver leaf. So she's painting these panels on top of silver leaf, which is just so stunning. And again, like you can find a lot of her artworks or these images online. I just love having that there in book form. You can kind of sit there and flip through it and look up close at the lines. And that was what I was going to say. I really love like the flourish of a line, like the sweep of a line. And she really has that in abundance, this really beautiful way that she creates the movement of these flowers. The other thing that's interesting about her work, so where botanical work, you're kind of taking one flower and really trying to portray this almost quite perfection, like this really beautiful finished botanical piece. What she does is take all the flowers and she has them in her studio, kind of surrounding herself in this garden. And as the flowers start to wilt, the petals start to move slightly differently. And when she paints that, it looks like the flowers are in the wind. And it's so beautiful. And I was reading in the back of this book, there's a conversation with her, a chapter where she kind of elaborates on things. So I haven't finished reading it, but part of what I was reading was, as a child, she needed glasses, but when she didn't have her glasses on, the landscapes were a little bit blurry. And so I guess that's coming out in the painting, this kind of blur between the real clarity and just this kind of vivid, abstract, imaginative world as well. So I love her use of colour as well, and the way that she's kind of building up these paintings and these leaves and kind of the centres of the flowers and creating this depth, this like visual, just beautiful texture. So also the scale of her works. So she works really large, and she's painted, so they had a chateau in France. I'm not sure if she's moved from there now, but she painted pretty much the whole chateau, and it was just so beautiful. Like, can you imagine being in a room with these flowers all over the walls? So just really incredible. And again, sort of something to think about. Like, you can see here another color palette. You've got these really pale buttery yellows and creams, and these kind of taupes and these really autumnal colors. So yeah, I just love it. I love kind of delving into another artist's world for a little while. And I think that books really give you that opportunity. Yeah, again, like you can see like the beautiful kind of the vines and the colors. I got this book actually off Books, I think, as a used book. So you can find some of these, like if you kind of keep searching, they will come up every now and then. This is some beautiful like large clay vessels that she creates as well. So, and paints on them. I mean, they're just so stunning. So yeah. And then I think, here we go. So I loved that entrance there as well. But so we've talked about these in the comment section before. So these are what she calls her oil drawings. So she's painting kind of sketches of the flowers and of the trees. I guess she's practicing. She might talk about this more, but I haven't read the whole thing. But yeah, it's so interesting to kind of just scale back and paint some of these things monochromatically and really try and figure out the shapes and kind of how you want that to look. So they also could be underpaintings, but yeah, really beautiful. You can see here the murals. I mean, look at this. Yeah, I love this room so much. It's such a dreamy quality, and yeah. So the next book is kind of the last actual art one that we will talk about. And so this one is the Florilegium that we started to look at in the beginning. This is a collection of botanical works of art. So, but again, like I love this interplay between, like, you've got the swatches at the front. So it's quite playful, and it shows you kind of the whole spectrum of the artist's work as well. Like the colour matching and the colour mixing portion of it, you know, botanical work is often, it's so structured and it's so finite, and I really love kind of the tenacity of like how meticulous they are and trying to notice every detail, and it takes such a long time. So it's such a beautiful, again, I love this map, and you can see here like the compressed value scale. These are quite pale. I'll show you this compared to the next page, and I could just pore over this page for a whole afternoon. Like I love just looking at every detail and all the little intricacies that they put on there. So Sorry, so I cut myself off again, but what I was saying was it's such a beautiful style of art. You can see like how pale the map is there, but it's such a beautiful style of art, but they've kind of pulled back the window a little bit in this Florilegium and let you kind of see a peek kind of behind the scenes of all the different parts of how the artist came to that conclusion. And like you can see some of these pages of their working sketches and again like the herbariums, so things they've collected and what they're looking at to try and make the decisions on what to paint, how to paint it. And you know, they have to like even like the beauty of all these different little stems and the parts of the flowers, like trying to figure out how that would look really nice on a page. And composition is such a big part of their work as well. So yeah, just really beautiful. And then when you see, and I love like the measuring, like the measurements there as well, the scale that they show you. But yeah, I'll link the video again. It's just so beautiful. It's such a beautiful part of the world as well. So you can see like you find out about flowers that you had never heard of before. They have such interesting wildlife and flora there as well. So, and yeah, I really love this. It's really interesting through the book as well to see all the different artists and their approach to the flowers, to how they create the composition, like to even what flowers they choose or what they were drawn to as well. So, and like the little insects. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this. So we're going to go again like these golden pages with the, it almost looks like silver point on the page, and it kind of looks like material, almost like a silk material, but yeah, really beautiful. So these 4 books here are not necessarily artists in that sense, but they are artists. So this one is Maggie Austin Cake Artist, which I love, and I actually got this book from Amazon secondhand, and it came from a library, which was amazing. And so she's creating these flowers from gum paste, and then yeah, putting them like on the table. You can see she's painting the fondant for the cookies. So, and then color matching, like color mixing. So a watercolor cake here. So it's all still very relevant to like art and things that you can be inspired by. And I love these little cookies. Yeah, I have 2 favourite cake artists. She's one of them, and then Cake Opera Co. She doesn't have a book out, but I did take her class, and yeah, I highly recommend the book. I'll link them both below, the class. So, and you can see this is heavily tutorial-based book, and then you get these little snippets of like the beautiful kind of end products. So again, like there's a lot of learning and a lot of tips and things that she offers you in the book. So this second one here is about dried flowers. I think this is a brand new book that came out this year. And yeah, I just really love the idea as well of having like drying your own flowers and kind of setting up either still lifes or creating like tablescapes and wreaths and things like that. So here is really an interior design one. This is by Winston Churchill's granddaughter, actually, I think. and just a really beautiful one, again, full of colour, full of pattern, full of textiles, books, and yeah, just really yummy, scrumptious things. Little bits and snippets that can inspire your paintings and your artwork as well. So I really love it. You can see the dried flowers there again. I feel like a lot of these books are about creating a thoughtful and kind of inspiring space in your home, not just like in your studio, but really bringing a lot of these beautiful things to have around you, to have around your family, and really to enjoy on a daily basis. I think that though some of that really will start to kind of seep into how you want to paint and what you want to paint and things like that. But also just living creatively. So yeah, this last book is a floral one again, but again it's laced with all these beautiful kind of dried flowers, colour palettes, kind of still life opportunities, and just beautiful little kind of antique treasures as well, and how to showcase them. But there's this one little chapter, it's only maybe 4 or 5 pages, but it's on making paint and with natural pigments. And she says, I think she starts it by saying, I think about colour every day. There it is. I think about colour daily. I think that's so nice, and it's something I can really relate to. It's really, colour is so inspiring, I feel like. It's always a great place to start. Okay, so the video is going to wrap up, so I will see you next week. Hopefully the landscape class will be launching next Saturday, the 23rd, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If not, I'll let you know in the comments of this video. You can see here our peonies are starting to grow. The little red noses, they call them, are coming up, so that's very exciting. But yeah, I will see you next week, and let us know in the comments also if you have artist block. What do you do? What are your favorite ways to be inspired? Okay, see you guys. Bye.